You know, even Jim fucking Sterling's son has his worries. For example, I was worried a little bit about this episode. It comes so hot off the heels of the 7 out of 10 controversy for The Legend of Zelda, and a video where I immediately follow up by espousing the benefits of Horizon Zero Dawn could look iffy. Could look like what some people have been saying about me, that I'm a Sony Shill who was getting revenge on Nintendo with the lowest score in the world. Also that I could put Horizon Zero Dawn above it. Then I realised I was worrying about what people on game FAQs and certain subreddits say. So I stopped giving a shit. In less than 2 weeks, Horizon Zero Dawn has amassed 2.6 million sales. The PS4 exclusive open world game from Guerrilla Games appears to have hit the ground running. While early reports that it was outselling Breath of the Wild were a little bit skewed due to the PS4's larger install base and the game's earlier release date, the fact a new IP is going toe-to-toe with anything at all is always impressive, especially if you subscribe to the prevailing attitude in the AAA game industry that sequels sell and new intellectual property is a waste of time and effing money. Of course, being an exclusive game, Horizon has drawn plenty of ire from other corners. The more enthusiastically venomous Zelda fans, for example, have been meta-bombing it and exposing a really raw nerve about the game when it comes up at all, not all Zelda fans, etc. However, this is not about pathetic lines in the sand drawn by territorial human wreckages who have long ago immolated their sense of self and replaced all identifiable personality with video games. Be you a zealot for the PS4, Xbox One or Nintendo Switch, you ought to be pleased that this game is doing so well. Just remember, the industry is not a zero-sum game. A video game title doing well doesn't suck up the enjoyment you have with your own toys. Keep that in mind as we continue to enjoy our time together here today, yes? The success of Horizon Zero Dawn is good for everybody who gives a shit about the long-term health of the game industry, even with its fucking awful name and a protagonist whose name makes me cringe. And yes, I know it's supposed to sound a bit like Alloy, but that doesn't make it any better. Anyway, let's look at the myriad ways in which Zero Dawn's success is full of fantastic lessons that the rest of the game industry will want to completely fucking ignore because it's run by fucking idiots. First of all, anytime a new IP proves commercially rewarding is another kick up the anus of every analyst, focus group result, and executive who behaves as if you can't have original characters and worlds and stories anymore. Like Hollywood, the game industry is in love with its sequels and reboots and soft reboots and remasters and remakes and remastered remakes and soft remade sequel remaster boots. Despite us already having lots of evidence that new ideas can sell if they're actually sold properly, big budget publishers are often too cowardly to risk their doubloons on anything other than a sure bet like Call of Duty. Now that's what I call warfare. Secondly, Horizon is an open world game that has many of the trappings of open world games that I've grown to dislike greatly. It's got collectathon quests, it's got its own version of Ubisoft's long-mocked radio towers, it's got the obligatory enemy camps that all need clearing, because no one can do it them fucking selves. However, it's all been put into a densely populated world that cares not about the sheer map size, but about putting lots of interesting things in the map. From a wide range of biomes to distinctive settlements, landmarks, and enemy grazing spots, Horizon is a far cry from Ubisoft's typically bland and by-the-numbers open-world approach. And even the cookie-cutter sandbox shit in Horizon is well-crafted enough and often cuts out the boring shit. Those radio towers are big walking robo-giraffes that are approached in different ways each time and take mere moments to climb once their individual environmental puzzles are solved. The collectibles, they're not strewn about the map in the hundreds as desperate filler, and even the enemy camps have a running story with the game's best NPC and a genuine conclusion for the work put in. Horizon gets open world games right. Its side quests are detailed with their own stories, not just repetitive filler. It's the first game in maybe years that I've cared about attempting to 100%. For me though, it's what Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't do that makes me so happy to see it sell well. It eschewed a lot of the bullshit trappings that have come to be packed in as standard in your average AAA video game. Much of the avaricious doubling down and money-grubbing pig spunkery that has come to typify the average hype-driven big-name game release simply was not present with the launch of Horizon. First of all, there were no microtransactions, which I found especially interesting because the game's economy is set right up for them. When I noticed I was getting free sample boxes from merchants and that other rewards came in similarly themed crates, I started to groan because I was certain I was being set up by yet another premium-priced game demanding extra monetary handouts. However, it turned out the game's many loot boxes were all found or purchased in-game with no premium currency in sight. In a world where Ubisoft looks to further monetize every piece of shit it churns out, and Square Enix actively forced microtransactions into Mankind Divided at the last minute, it's as heartening as a Hylian radish to see a game do away with fee-to-pay bollocks. Furthermore, you'll notice that Zero Dawn didn't shove a $50 season pass up everybody's hole, or indeed any season pass at all. The season pass is a stupid idea, in case you didn't know, in which some publishers had the sheer fucking nerve to try and trick customers into pre-ordering DLC that didn't even exist yet. And somehow it worked, so now everybody, Sony included, creams their jeans at the chance to do one. Doesn't matter if they have any DLC planned or not, doesn't matter if they're so strapped for incentives to get people to buy these ridiculous gambles, they'll even withhold difficulty modes as Season Pass exclusives. Publishers love them, who doesn't love getting money for doing fucking nothing? But anyway, Horizon is one of the increasingly rare major publisher-backed titles to not turn a $60 purchase into a $110 purchase by selling some expensive-ass promises. Continuing on from that, there was no Day 1 DLC either. Really, the amount of doubling down this game did not do is pretty fucking remarkable, though it's sad as all hell that unchecked goddamn greed is considered a remarkable thing not to indulge in these days. 2 weeks on, and only now is Guerrilla actually starting to talk about further expansions to the game. It's almost as if they made a complete game first, and then sold the game in its complete state to customers who bought it. Fucking amazing. This is not to say the business models governing Horizon's launch were squeaky clean, but then again, even CD Projekt Red couldn't resist the allure of pre-order bonuses, which is about as far as Zero Dawn went with its embrace of pre-order culture. GameStop, being GameStop, had an extra outfit and bow on offer, and digital pre-orders got a dynamic PS4 theme, and that was about it. The only other bit of additional content was a handful of outfits and bows in the special edition, all of which are easily outclassed by easily obtainable in-game gear anyway, so I find it hard to pillory the game for this. It's no augment your pre-order, that's for bloody sure. Now let's say the word diversity and watch the rats among us flee the ship. I know to some online viewers hearing the very word diversity is ironically like hearing every racist word yelled at once while Nickelback's playing in the background, but yes, I am going to praise a game what has a woman one in it, and I am going to talk about the woman one, so you might want to run away before the SJWs get you! Basically, do you remember that short-lived but spirited controversy about that boring as fuck cover for Bioshock Infinite that just had a generic dude with a gun on it like 10,000 other fucking video game covers? Do you remember the excuse for shunting Elizabeth, arguably the game's real star, on the back cover? It was that they wanted the game to sell, and games sell when angry men with guns are on the cover. Woman. Bow. Looking badass. Selling copies. Checkmate. Out-of-touch marketing departments who make their decisions based solely on focus groups of 12-year-old boys. And if the whole gender thing really does make your little winky shrivel up, then there are other reasons to like this cover, and Aloy as a protagonist too. Because it's different. And not just because she's called Aloy. Aloy! Aloy! Ugh. Everything about this game and the artwork is different. It's got colours in it, and a robot dinosaur. It doesn't look like generic fucking crap that has been cynically cobbled together by a PR team rather than a real friggin' artist. It reminds me of that old saying that was popularly bandied about the industry and media several years ago about how games with women leads sell half as well as games with men in the starring role. The less commonly mentioned note, of course, is that they were also given half as much marketing push, because if there's one thing games love more than money, it's self-fulfilling prophecies. Anyway, just another bit of Horizon proving big industry standards wrong, which is good because big industry standards are, by and large, a load of fucking wank. We're stuck with a big budget game industry that through a mixture of creative bankruptcy and utter fear tends toward conformity, churning out games that look and feel the same. Any success story in which trends are bucked even a little bit is a good thing for all of us, because variety is good. It's good that we can have Doom and The Binding of Isaac and Gone Home and Beyond Two Souls and Sunset and Halo and Breath of the Wild all at once. I don't care for all of those games. Some of them I listed I fucking hate. But they're all distinct from each other and we need more of that. The more variety there is, the more choices there are, the more interests are catered to, and the more the industry grows. Even if you're one of those folks who think you hate politics in games or that politics equals not a man, you should at least be forward-thinking enough to consider the financial rewards in embracing product and demographic variety. There are cynical business reasons for social awareness. It don't just feel good. And no, Horizon's not perfect. It does fall into many AAA temptation holes, as we've noted. Temptation holes, that doesn't sound right. And it's even come under fire for the way it's retooled existing human cultures, which, you know, at least it's inviting some interesting fucking critique. Same can't be said for Ubisoft's The Crew, which was the cultural equivalent of this half-empty tub of Philadelphia. Anyway, for all it's doing to prove the game industry's assumed and contrived conventions wrong, Horizon deserves some respect whether you like it or not. And really, this year has been so front-loaded with great to amazing games that I don't know how anyone has time for the tired old tribalistic console war clownishness anymore. Between Yakuza 0, Nioh, Nier Automata, Breath of the Wild, Resident Evil 7, that Conan game where you can look at a dick, and, yeah, I guess Halo Wars 2 was good, right? I like that one, right? There's plenty to be getting on with, and that's to say nothing of Persona 5 and Mass Effect Zoo Animal Edition coming out in like a second. You know, there's so much bollocks going on right now, and there are enough video games to distract you from adding to the bollocks yourselves. So go do that.
I'd like to get married, but to be honest, it feels like no one will have me. There, I said it.
Oh my god!
That'll about do it for me. Thank God for me, of course. Now, if you'll excuse me, got to get ready for a radio interview. Going to be chatting to Ian Boldsworth on Fubar Radio. Certainly hope I don't land myself in any hot water or say anything stupid. So long as I don't make jokes about the Holocaust or start espousing some weird xenophobic bullshit, everything should be fine. Of course, the chances of that happening are 1 in a million. What up, YouTube? It's your boy Jim Sterling with another life hack. Can't do the H for ya. Here's an awesome life hack that'll make your life maximum to the extreme, aka much better. When someone asks you how your day's been or how you are in general, just say fine. Say it's fine, it's okay, it's alright. Be non-committal but lightly positive. That way they won't know what a shit time you're actually having. And they won't know about the darkness inside. Don't let them in. Don't let them in. They haven't earned that part of you. No one has. Life hack! Hell yeah! Fucking life hack to the extreme!